Hello everybody, welcome back once again to the Tactics Ogre Reborn walkthrough. Last video there we did the Tynamoth Hill battle, and I'm actually going to check the Warren report. It says the music command is now available. I'm not probably going to take a look at that, but let's take a look. Alright, so we've got a couple of new events. It says the remnants of the Walser resistance have recaptured Alamorica Castle from Galgastani forces. Duke Ronway was freed and the Galgastani have been forced to withdraw from the region. Both camps will be watched with great interest. A hero is born, so Alamorica Castle was recently recaptured by resistance partisans who defeated the occupying Galgastani forces. None of the partisans were more than a score in years. Their leader Pavel, is now celebrated as a hero by the Wallister people. So there you go, just like that, Denim is a hero. I think that those two topics were probably available prior to the Tynamoth Hill battle. But, anyways, alright. Let's head here into Krysaro. You definitely want to have a couple of units, or at least maybe one, with the Exorcism command. We're going to be exercising a lot of undead in the next one, so let's get this started. Vanquish the enemy leader. Use magic to heal and obtain a buff card for the bonus objectives, and we'll get a light charm for obtaining a buff card. All right, so let's bring our guy in here. Campus. Front. I usually keep Denim here for whatever reason. Maybe that's because that was like the default spawn, but yeah, looks good. We can also scout, so let's take a look. So Vice starts out here on the side. I don't really. There's a chance that he'll have to shift Stone out, but here is Donalto. We'll want to try to save him. It's kind of a bizarre battle too, so we're going to get a couple of recruits after this battle, and if you let Donalto die here, there's a generic unit, kind of a generic, she's named, but she's kind of a generic unit, that'll take his place, but I'm not going to do that, at least not yet. So yeah, let's get this started.
Great Father! Ne'er have I seen such an undead throng. That necromancer uses men's souls for sport. Sleep, souls. Embrace the waiting everworld. Impossible! My exorcism has failed! Perhaps the corpses must be still before the soul can be put to rest.
That's exactly it.
I've forgotten much in the quarter century that's passed since I last faced the undead. But listen to me, making excuses. Wait for me, Leonard. All I need do is hold out till reinforcements arrive. There, our liberators! Great Father, smile upon us this day.
Perhaps he merely bares his teeth at you, old man. The sleep has already taken your friends. And no common sleep. They descend the sepulchral stairs toward death. When they wake, it will be as unliving horrors. We only need hold until Master Nybeth's return. Give them not an inch, and show them no quarter.
Right, vanquish Moldova. To battle. So at the beginning there, that was actually kind of the tutorial on how to handle undead. Basically, if you try to use exorcism on them right away, it doesn't work. They actually have to be knocked down, and which is the term for it in this game is stilled. And then once they're stilled, then you can cast exorcism, and that'll basically get rid of them. A stilled undead unit will come back alive if you let the timer expire. So, again, something to keep in mind. Alright, let's see. Can't really do much from here. One of the kind of cheesy things that you can do is a lot of these bushes and like little patches of grass. You can attack them, and oftentimes they'll have a buff card. Like more often than not, they'll have a buff card. So it can be kind of one of the ways to, kind of power up in the early turns before you're actually able to get to the enemies. I find it. Honestly, I think the buff cards in general are silly, and it was actually a really bad addition to the game. I think it just it like introduces a lot more luck and randomness to a game, and it's not. A lot of times you're just going to be like trying to chase down buff cards and wasting a lot of turns just to try to get to a buff card before the enemies do. And the problem is if you don't do that, and if you let the enemies grab up all the buff cards, then they've got a major advantage. So I don't really love that addition to the game, but well, it's the way it is. All right, let's see here. Can't really do a good. Well, all right. I might. You know what? I think I'm just gonna end this turn. I'm not gonna even bother taking an action. Boom. One kind of nice thing also, though, is that you can actually heal the undead units to deal damage, or use a heal spell on them, and it'll actually deal damage to them. Not a great chance here, but alright, well, half of them. Good enough. Worth. Man. Yeah, putting or giving Vice a bow really helps out. There's a lot of turns early on in the game where he's just not able to actually get anything done because he's running around with a fist. It's funny. It just seems, at least in the beginning of the game here, that bows are really, really good, but it feels like pretty early on, maybe like, I don't know if it's early chapter 2, but they really feel like they start to fall off. I've tried, using them at other points, but I don't know, it just really doesn't feel like they're as effective. Maybe I'll give them another shot this time around, but I just didn't really like. I'm sorry, archers mostly, I guess is what I was kind of getting at. The weird thing is that the archers have the ability to use both of the items that I actually really like, which again, or weapons that I like, which again is bow and dagger. So it's always kind of funny. Like I feel like they should be better, but yeah, just again doesn't really feel that way. Well, I can't get to the north to heal him, but that's probably fine. sometimes it's a toss-up on whether or not to grab like a physical card or a crit card, because crits are... Actually, I think I'm going to grab the crit. It's probably the case that crit cards are more worthwhile, but physical cards are really good as well. I mean, obviously for physical characters, it's not really going to do you that much good for like mages, unless you're using something like I do, where you know, you're using daggers and using the dagger finishers. I guess even like an auto attack, but then it can be kind of worth it to grab those on them as well. But generally, maybe it's obvious, you're going to want to put your physical cards on your characters dealing physical damage. MP is generally good on everybody, other than, well, no, it's again, I think it's generally good on everybody. More so later on once we actually get our finishers as well, because you know, generating more MP every turn means that you're going to be getting more finishers as well. So it's not just good for, you know, mages, for example. Okay, let's see here. Oh, that guy's acting. Right, yeah. So right now, I'm actually going to. I'm gonna exercise this ghost. You know, I'm really tempted to chariot back. Let's chariot back here. Yeah, to her. So I'm gonna move to a different spot this time. I actually kind of would like to see if I can get a card to drop from this undead instead. Just items again. I don't know if this is worth charioting back that many times, though. Probably not. I think maybe I'll just continue on here. I can do like stat or card hunting maybe a little bit later in the game, or focus a little bit more on it. Alright, let's who needs to get healed anyway? Actually, that would be, I was gonna say rune fencer, but it's a lady. Let's just dash this. Boom. Big Vice. Big Vice with his bow. Boom. Yeah, that physical card. Again, you know, the thing that I don't like, though, and what'll inevitably happen eventually is that the enemy will be about to go, and you know, like a physical card will pop up right next to one of my, or near them. They'll pick up the card and then rock, you know, one of our characters, and there's no real way to like counter that, because you just never know when they're gonna pop up.
What is keeping him?
But yeah, again, so unfortunately that means you know, there's just a lot of randomness to the game that there's only so much you can do in terms of tactics when things like that happen. But you know, if that does happen, then maybe you just go back and chariot and you know, prevent. Try the other timeline where they didn't, you know, screw you over by getting a brutal buff card. So. And eventually I'll probably start transitioning my casters over into less projectile type nukes, and into, you know, spells that yeah, I guess don't like require line of sight, and you don't have to worry so much about objects in the way and you know, positioning. The drain spell though is still, I mean, the drain spell is amazing. It's one of the best spells in the game. You know, again, mostly if you're worried about doing incapacitation or no incapacitations, but the drain spell, unfortunately though, is treated like a projectile, so that's, you still have to work around that. But you know, so especially some of the like AOE's, you don't necessarily need to worry about stuff like that. So that'll be nice once we get to. And it won't be long, we'll have those type of spells. Boom! The big Donalto. I think he was able to exercise on every one of his turns, which is pretty nice. And now, you need to be healed. Crossbows, I should say, not a weapon that I really like that much. Yeah, I mostly because they're not as easy to use as the other bows, like the regular bows. The regular bows have an arc, you know, so it's easy to shoot basically in front of your other characters, whereas crossbows fire in a straight line, and so you know, positioning is a lot more difficult with those, and I also don't really like their finishers that much, although I guess to be fair, I think the crossbows might have some kind of like AoE finishers. It's just I was never really liked the abilities that they had, and kind of like the effects that went along with them. So here's a resistance card. I'll probably try to grab that with Denim. He's so far down the line. Yeah, that'll be fine. Generally, I try to stack up the green cards, like the stat boost on the Denim, because he's going to be with us the entire game, and especially things like resistance. You know, if you're planning on being kind of up in the front and kind of aggressive with him, you're going to want to have as much, you know, resistance, avoidance, that sort of thing as you can get. Although I think I've read that resistance isn't that. Or is it, I'm sorry, avoidance isn't that great, or was it agility? I don't know, maybe both. And I'm honestly not sure about not sure when it comes to that specifically. But I do know resistance is pretty solid. We want to be trying to, you know, resist reduce the damage from spells as much as we can. So let's do. Let's see Moldova's class. I think she might be a... Yeah, there's the life force. So there's the drain. Actually, that's a little different, isn't it? What? Wait, what is this? And why can't I actually see it? I can't actually see her spells? That can't be right. Yeah, I can. That's so weird. I thought I could see her skills. Anyways, alright, so she's a necromancer. Which is also a kind of a shame here that I think she shift stones away. Which again is a bit of... Oh, there it goes. Life Force. Drains HP from a single target and converts the amount drained to MP for the caster. Okay. I don't know. That's not that great. I mean, a regular drain would have been better, right? Because then she would have been restored to full. Yeah, that's not that great. Oh, look at that. That is the power of the crit card. Yeah, that was nasty. Whew. Oh, there it is.
Master Nybeth, even in death would I have served you.
Oh, we actually do get to kill her? What? I thought she shift stoned away. Well, yeah, so that's it's a shame that we actually don't get her class when we take her down. But I think necromancers are... It's very specific in how you are able to get that class. Alright, so there it is. Use magic to heal and obtain debuff cards. So we got the light charm for that, as well as a little bit of extra experience, which I think we're capped out anyway. We'll see. That might convert into an experience charm. Yeah. So here it says the excess experience points from this action will be transformed into a charm. And that's kind of one of the other great things about having your characters capped out, is then obviously you can transfer that into a charm, and then use those charms on other characters that maybe you don't want to level, or whatever.
My thanks to you, Denham. You saved my life, and my apologies to you, Bruno. Such is our reward for striking blind. Already I've lost too many of the Duke's men. I know not how I shall face him.
I am thankful that you, at least, still live. The Great Father favors us.
As he is surely displeased by the trespasses of this Nybeth, the sorcerer of the foulest sort.
Yes, Nybeth. He lies hidden in a rotting fastness beyond the town. Odd. With his men left at Almorica, I'd have thought him bound for Caritan. Or could he be scheming?
I want his head, whatever it may be plotting. I will not return to the Duke empty-handed.
You mean to take the fastness with these numbers? Should we not withdraw and regroup?
Were it only myself and the remnants of my men, I would find retreat more palatable. But do not forget our new allies.
I have not. Yet be mindful of the Galgastani threat. Why, they might attack Almorica at any moment.
As I see it, we would not have the luxury of choice were it not for the heroes of Goliath.
Yes, of course. Advance or retreat. The decision is rightfully Denham's.
Voltaire, Sarah, I know you'll not object.
Then it's settled. We are yours to command.
All right, so here we get our a couple more kind of non-generics. So Donalto is definitely, I believe, a non-generic, right? I think his God, or is he? I don't know. I think he is anyway. The reason why I say he actually does have, I mean, he's definitely not a generic. He's got like specific lines that'll say if you bring him into some battles. But generally, when I look at the generics, it's their sprites. They generally have a different sprite, and I think Donalto is like an off-colored cleric. So anyway, let's recruit him. And then Sarah, though, she is a sort of non-generic, right? She's actually has a name, a specific name. It's always Sarah. But she is a generic in her look. She looks like every other archer in the game. Female archer in the game, that is. And then same with Voltaire here. Or, yeah, I think that's how you say his name, Voltaire. So he's a knight. Looks like, again, generally any other, you know, generic character. Alright, and there are party levels from level 5 to level 8. I'll probably do the training off camera because watching me spam, you know, like Almorica Castle is probably not going to be too fun. I may head back here though, because I think that's just a storyline. Like some story events happen there, and I kind of want to do that. Oh, we only have 1,000 gold. Jesus, we didn't get much from that last battle apparently. Yeah, let's head back here and do this really quickly.
Leonard has told me of the battle. You have served me well. I hope you continue to do so. You are to accompany Leonard to Fidok Castle, a Bakram holding.
Fidok Castle? Where the Dark Knights are garrisoned? Why there?
I want you to forge a treaty of non-interference before the real fighting with Golgastan begins. Not with the Bakram, mind you, but with the Dark Knights of Lodis. We cannot have them hounding our flank while we are occupied with Golgastan.
But, Your Grace, it was the Bakram who brought on this war. Our parents died on Loslorian swords. Had they not aided the Bakram, how much suffering might we have been spared?
None know this better than I, Kashua. But consider what would happen were we to face such a foe in open battle. They would crush us. The Bakram people, overfed swine that they are no threat. But the Dark Knights, there is a foe to be feared, which is why we must swear our allegiance to Lodis and ensure that they are no foe of ours.
So, Your Grace means to bend the knee to Lodis?
Tread carefully, Vice. I have told you, we are of one mind on this. I know the devil's bargain we make with Lodis. But it's only until we can deal with Golgastan and Balbatos. With the Dark Knights at bay, those opportunists in the Golgastani camp clamoring for war will fall silent. There's our chance. Once Balbatos is dead and buried, only then do we turn to strike the Bakram. What does our holy knight make of this? The Zenobian throne has no designs on Valeria. No Lodis there. Surely then King Tristan would not object to a treaty of non-interference. A gesture of support for our burgeoning state. But I forget, this has no bearing on you, Sir Lancelot. Forgive me. Well, the sooner you and Leonard have left for Fidok, the better. A purse of 5,000 Goths should help you see to your needs. I'll not have you depart unprepared.
Well, there we are. Always getting a little bit of extra cash, it seems like, from Ronway. But Leonard joined the party as a guest. Alright, shops have new items in stock. I am going to save. Also, let's take a look and see if there's any topics here that we can do. Resistance takes Krysaro. So the town of Krysaro near Almorica's border is now under Wallister resistance control. Before their coming, Krysaro had become a ghost town strewn with corpses. But residents are now beginning to return. Krysaro has long been a center of worship for followers of Vask, which I don't know what that is, and it is but a matter of time before it returns to its former glory. Next up is the bloody purges in Corytonai. Opponents of the Galgastani regime in Corytonai held a large rally upon hearing that Almorica Castle had fallen. Many have been secretly critical of Hierophant Balbatos, and now this discontent has come to the fore. The Hierophant is responding with force, slaying all those who speak out against him. Wow, that doesn't speak highly of him. Procession attackers named. Partisans thought to be behind the attack of a procession on Heim on the 1st of Godscale have now been apprehended. They are believed to be members of the Liberation Front, a group of Bakram militants loyal to the late King Dorgalua. We now await further announcements. I don't remember who that is. I mean, I remember who the Liberation Front is, but I don't remember who they caught. We might find out. Anyways, alright, so Consul Abdulord is missing. Nibeth Abdulord, a well-known practitioner of the art of necromancy, and the Galgastani consul to Almorica, has gone missing. He has not been heard from since the fall of Almorica Castle and is likely a prisoner of the walls to resistance. There is grave fear for his safety. Alright, that looks like that's it for top commands. I am going to, as I said, do a little bit of training off screen. I want to bring my characters up to Union level 8. And then actually I will head down to the Quadriga Fortress and do that battle before moving on I guess, towards the Phydock Castle. So, alright, as always, hope the guide was helpful, and thank you for watching.